Yes, sir.
Okay. Today let us discuss the previous question papers. So before that, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So are you able to see the screen? Yeah,
Yes,
please
sir.
listen. Okay. Okay, if you see the first question, state and explain Kirchhoff's current law. So what is Kirchhoff's current law?
At a node, the algebraic sum of currents equal to 0.
Okay, the algebraic sum of currents meeting at a node is equal to 0. So the algebraic sum of currents meeting at a node is equal to 0. And you can draw currents. So you can put like this. So next, calculate the equivalent resistance between the terminals A and B in the circuit. So here, what is the equivalent resistance? Can anyone tell?
Sir, 4
So
and 4 in series, and
yes,
that with 8 with parallel, and again series with 4 ohm resistor. Then again parallel with 3 ohm resistor. Then series with 2 ohm resistor.
okay, what is the total value you got?
Six.
Okay, you can do this one. Next is coming to third one. Define RMS value and peak value of alternating quantity.
RMS value is equals to 0.707 into peak value.
So coming to this RMS value. So many of you have written this definition in the internal exam. So here the RMS value of an alternating current is that value of DC current which when flowing through a given resistance for a given time produces the same amount of heat as produced by the alternating current when flowing through the same resistance for the same time. So next up. So for the circuit shown in figure, calculate the current I. So how to calculate the current I? This is a AC circuit. So here I is equal to V by Z. See here, you must be careful here, 25 heads. So let us do this one. Let's all of you do this fourth one. See the fourth one. So here, first you have to calculate Z. For calculating the Z, you have this the value of R, and here you have the value of L. So first you have the L equal to 10 millihenry. So what is XL? XL equal to omega L, which is equal to 2 pi f into L. So 2 into pi into f. F equal to 25 into L, 10 into 10 power minus 3. So calculate this one. So how much value you got? XL 1.57 ohms. Have you got the same one? See here. So first, so L is equal to 10 millihenry. So XL equal to omega L, so which is equal to 2. Yes. So what is the value you got? XL?
1.57.
Yes, 1.57. So here 2 pi into, what is the frequency? See, you must be careful here. So frequency it is given 25 hertz. So 2 pi into 25 into, what is the value of L? 10 into 10 power minus 3. So millihenry. So here you are going to get 1.57 ohms. So this you got. So already R is equal to, what is the value of R? R equal to 10 ohms and V equal to 100. So R equal to R equal to 10 ohms. So here V equal to 100 volts is given. Volts. So now I is equal
to V by Z, sir.
So here we have to calculate the Z. First let us calculate the Z. Z is equal to R plus J XL. So R plus J XL, which is equal to 10 plus J 1.57. So here in the question it is asked, calculate the current I. So we have to calculate the magnitude of current I. So get the value of Z magnitude. So under root of 10 square plus 1.57 square. So here what is the value? So 10.12.
10.11, sir.
So 10.12. So 10.12 ohms. So next, so we have I is equal to V by Z. So V by Z. So I is equal to V by Z is equal to 100 by 10.12. So you are going to get the current.
9.88, sir.
Yes,
9.88, sir.
9.8.
8.
Okay. So next, let us see the next one. So draw no load phasor diagram of single phase transformer. So no load phasor diagram of single phase transformer. So you can draw any one. Either you can take a practical or ideal. So you can draw practical or ideal. No load phasor diagram. So here this is the no load phasor diagram. So you can also, so here this in this I have included only magnetizing current. You can also include the working component of current. So like this also you can draw. This is flux. So here E1, E2, this is minus E1, this is I0, this is IM, IW. So this is the voltage drop due to resistance. This is the voltage drop due to leakage flux. This is V1. So here this is the no load phasor diagram of a practical transformer. So you can, as you are belong to ECE, this is enough. So here, as you belong to ECE, this diagram is enough. So here you can see here, only I have taken IM. So if you take a practical transformer, actually with IM you will be having IW, and this is I0. This is the voltage drop due to resistance, and this is the voltage drop due to leakage flux. And here, if you add this, you are going to get V1. So for you, this is enough. This is enough. So next, so what is statically induced EMF? So what is statically induced EMF? So here the EMF induced in a transformer is statically induced EMF. So here alternating flux. So here you can see here this alternating flux links with both the windings and induces EMF and EMFs E1 and E2. in them according to Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. So here directly you can write when alternating flux links with a coil, EMF is induced in the coil. So here when alternating flux links with the coil, EMF is induced in the coil. The induced EMF is known as statically induced EMF. So here in a transformer you cannot find any rotating parts. So EMF is induced in the windings. So how the EMF is induced? So when a alternating flux links with the winding, okay, EMF is induced in the winding according to Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. This induced EMF is known as statically induced EMF. Like that you can write. Now coming to dynamically induced EMF. So this you can find in generators. So here let me show that also. Is it clear first? Statically induced EMF. Okay, now dynamically
Sir,
induced
please
EMF.
tell once again, sir.
Oh, wait. Let me explain both. Hmm. So here you can see here. So here this is generator. So whenever magnetic flux is cut by a conductor, and EMF is induced in, okay, and EMF is induced. This is dynamically induced EMF. So in a generator, you can see here the conductor is cutting the magnetic flux, or flux is cut by the conductor. Conductor is cutting the magnetic flux, or you can say flux is cut by the conductor. So whenever a flux is cut by a conductor, magnetic flux is cut by a conductor, and an EMF is induced. This induced EMF is a dynamically induced EMF. So here in generator, dynamically induced EMF. So EMF induced in the generator is called as dynamically induced EMF. Why? Here the conductor is cutting the flux. So here the conductor is moving. That's why it is called as dynamically induced EMF. Now coming to transformer. So here when an alternating flux links with the winding, or you can write coil. See here, when an alternating flux links with the coil, EMF is induced, and that induced EMF is known as statically induced EMF. So here in a transformer, you can write in a transformer. In a transformer, when an alternating flux links with the windings, EMF is induced in the windings. According to Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, this induced EMF is known as statically induced EMF, as there are no moving parts. Is it clear the difference between statically induced EMF and dynamically induced EMF? Yeah, please respond. Here in electric generator, we have dynamically induced EMF. In a transformer, we have statically induced EMF. So next, classify DC generators based on excitation. So what are the classification of DC generators? So already I told you this. See here. So types of DC generators, types of excitations. So for both these, the answer is the same. So what are the different types of excitations? So classify DC generators based on excitation. Okay, here. So generators are generators are generally classified according to their methods of field excitation. So see here, excitation. They are separately excited DC generators, self-excited DC generators. So in self-excited DC generators, you have again these three types. You can write this: series generator, shunt generator, compound generator. That is enough. Is it clear? So this is also asked frequently. Classify the DC generators based on excitation. So you can write this one. So generator. So first one is separately excited DC generators. Second one is self-excited DC generator. In self-excited DC generator, you can write other different types.
Sir, we have to write matter also, sir.
Matter is not required. Based upon the marks, you write the answer. Because if you don't, you have to manage the time also. So here this is for only 2 marks. This is only 2 marks. That is enough. For 2 marks, just if you write the titles, it is enough. So next, list out the essential parts of DC machine. So only write the parts. So what are the parts? So just only write the parts. So what are the parts? Yoke. Okay, come from outer to inner. First yoke. Next you have this pole. Next pole. Okay, first write a yoke. Next write a pole. Next come to pole shoe and winding, field winding. See here, field winding. Where is here? So come in order, it will be better for you. Okay, so essential parts, just write the parts. So first write the yoke, next write the pole, next you can write the field winding, or you can write pole shoe, field winding. Next next you have the rotor. So next interpole. So next coming to the rotating part. So on the rotor, first you have the rotor shaft, and so coming to this this you can put to rotor. Next coming to armature conductors, commutator segments, or directly you can write commutator. So commutator. So like this parts you can write. So if you write in order, it will be easy for you, easy to remember. So next, what is miniature circuit breaker? What is miniature circuit breaker? So first write the full form of MCB. Oh, so already it is given. So here you can write these points. You can search points from this. So miniature circuit breakers are electromechanical devices which protect an electrical circuit from overcurrents. So overcurrents in an electrical circuit may result from short circuit, overload, or faulty design. So you can also write an MCB is a better alternative than fuse since it does not require replacement once a overload is detected. So up to this it is enough. If you want, you can write this up to this one. So based on your time, you can write up to this, or you can write the first paragraph. So next, what is the importance of power factor? What is the importance of power factor? So you can write the advantages of power factor improvement. So here you can write this one, advantages of improved power factor, or advantages of good power factor. So you can write these points: reduction in load current, increase in voltage level across the load, reduction in energy losses, reduction in kVA loading of the generator and transformers. Next, reduction in kVA demand charge for large consumers. This you can write. So next, coming to the 11th one. State and explain Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem with the help of neat circuit diagrams and their related expressions. So Thevenin's theorem. So Thevenin's theorem states that any two-terminal linear complex network consisting of a number of voltage sources, current sources, and resistances can be replaced by a simple equivalent circuit consisting of a single voltage source VTH in series with a resistance RTH. So next, this is the explanation where the value of the voltage source VTH is equal to the open circuit voltage across the two terminals of the network, and the Thevenin's resistance RTH is equal to the equivalent resistance measured between the terminals with all energy sources replaced by their internal resistances. So you can also mention internal resistance of voltage source is 0, that is a short circuit. Internal resistance of current source is infinity, that is open circuit. So here, for the sake of explanation, you can also draw these diagrams. If we have a complex network, two-terminal complex network, the terminals are A and B. Okay, A and B are the two terminals of this complex network. This can be replaced by a simple equivalent circuit, that is Thevenin's equivalent circuit, which contains the voltage source VTH in series with the resistance RTH. Here again we have the terminals. So these boxes are replaced by VTH and RTH. This complex network consisting of a number of voltage sources, current sources, resistances can be replaced by a single equivalent circuit, simple equivalent circuit consisting of a single voltage source in series with the resistance RTH. Next, so how to find VTH? Where here the voltage across A and B is VTH, and here if you replace the energy sources in the complex network, see here complex network with energy sources replaced by their internal resistances, and if you find the resistance across the terminals A and B, it is RTH. So RTH is the resistance across the terminals A and B, and VTH is the voltage across A and B. So here here for finding VTH, we are taking the complex network as it is, just we are finding the voltage across the terminals A and B. If you find the voltage across the terminals A and B, of this complex network, we are going to get VTH. But for finding RTH, we have to replace the energy sources. We have to replace the energy sources. Energy sources are replaced by their internal resistances. After replacing, then only we have to find RTH. Is it clear how to find VTH and RTH? So just finding the voltage across the terminals A and B. If you find the voltage across the terminals A and B, that gives VTH. But for finding RTH, we have to replace the energy sources by their internal resistances. Okay, 11th one. So easily you can get how much? 15 marks. It is asked, and also here Norton's theorem is also there. Thevenin's and Norton's theorem. So here, after attempting the question, once again read the question. So here, state and explain Thevenin's theorem and Norton's theorem. So Norton's theorem, coming to Norton's theorem, again we have so here we are going to replace the complex network with a simple equivalent circuit consisting of a single current source in parallel with the resistance Rn. How to find ISC? Just if you find the short circuit current, short circuit the terminals A and B, and the current flowing from A to B is ISC, and the value of Rn is same as RTH. So next, see the 12th one. So a resistance of 10 ohms is connected in series with the inductance and a capacitance to a 100 volts AC supply. Calculate the magnitude and phase angle of the current when frequency of the supply is 25 Hz and B bit 50 Hz. So take this RLC circuit, similar to this one. So here this is a problem. So here find XL, XC, total impedance, you find the Z. So here for this problem it is 50 Hz. What about this one? So here two cases. First one 25 Hz. Taking 25 Hz you have to do this problem, and afterwards taking 50 Hz you have to do this problem. So here, so find the magnitude, calculate the magnitude and phase angle of the current. Just you have to find the magnitude and phase angle of the current. So how to do this one? So first you have to find out that Z. After finding Z, find the current I. Okay. Next, how to find the phase angle? So here you are going to find the current. Next, we are going to find the phase angle. Phase angle is equal, theta equal to tan inverse XL minus XC by R. You are going to get the value. And again take a 50 Hz. Find the again calculate XL XC. So first you do from here to here phase angle by taking f equal to 25. Next take f equal to 50. See f equal to 50 and do this one. So is it clear this one? Series RLC circuit. So it is a problem is already given. So here in second unit, after RLC, series RLC, there is a problem. Go through this problem. So here not only phase angle, I have calculated a voltage, power factor, voltage across a resistor, inductor, capacitor, real power, reactive power, apparent power, phasor diagram also I have.
The phasor diagram explains it.
Yeah, yes. So here this OA is VR. This is VR. Okay, this is the phasor VR. This is VR. Okay. Now here, actually, a current has to be taken here. I. Okay. I. And this is VR. This is VR. This is the phasor I. This is the phasor VR. And here we have VL. So here VL will lead the current. So here you have two voltages, VL and VC. So before this, let me go show the VL and VC separately. That is RL and RC. After showing RL RC, I will come to this RLC. Let us take this one. For this phasor diagram is okay. So for this, this is RL circuit. This is I. This is VR. This is VL. If you add these two, you are going to get the V. Is it clear? This first one. This is RL. See here. RL circuit. First I am going to show RL circuit, then RC circuit, then RLC circuit. First go through this one. So this is RL circuit. So here R is there, L is there. First we are going to find the Z. For finding Z we require XL. So first calculate XL. Then find out Z. After getting Z, find the value of I. Okay, here next, what is VR? I into R. So whatever the current flowing through this is I. So voltage across the resistance R is IR according to Ohm's law. Okay, we got VR. VR equal to IR. Next, what about VL? I into XL. So here I into the impedance offered by the inductor is XL. And actually JXL. So here we require only the magnitude. So I into XL. So if you want to, you can put JXL also. So if you put JXL, it indicates the angle is 90 degrees. So here the VL equal to I into JXL. So here J means 1 at an angle of 90 degrees. Here you can take directly VL, you can directly draw like this, or what is VL equal to J into I into XL. So J means 1 at an angle of 90 degrees. That's why here we are going to draw this VL. So here VL, voltage across the inductor, leads the current by 90 degrees, or current lags the voltage by 90 degrees. The voltage leads the current, or current lags the voltage. So VL you have drawn. So what is the VR? VR is equal to I into R. So you got VR and VL. So here according to Kirchhoff's law, what about the supply voltage? Supply voltage is equal to sum of the voltage drops. So here, if you add these two voltages, you are going to get the supply voltage. So here, if you add VL and VR, you are going to get the supply voltage V. Here also you can draw the lines actually. So here, if you add VL and VR, VL and VR, you are going to get the supply voltage V. This is the phasor diagram for RL load. So can I proceed for RC? Yeah, please respond. Yes, number 119. So next coming to RC circuit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here here RC circuit I am drawing directly. So here I is there, VR. Next, VC. VC lags the current by 90 degrees. And if you add this two, you are going to get supply voltage V. Now, if you have RLC, then what happens? If you have RLC, so suppose VL is greater than VC, then here you are going to get the phasor diagram like this. Okay, is it clear? So here, if here VL VC, VL minus VC, I have taken VL minus VC. If VL minus VC is positive, you are going to get a V supply voltage as like this in the positive direction. So here, suppose VL is less than VC, then VL minus VC is negative. In that case, you are going to get V like this. Okay. So here I have considered VL greater than VC. So here I am going to get this one. So this is the phasor VR. If you want, you can put a VR here, and here you can take one more phasor I. As you are aware of this one, I have not drawn in order to make this simple. So here, if you come to the problem, so first find out VR, VL, VC. So based upon these values, so here, what about VC? VC is here. VC is greater than VL. So you are going to get it as down. So VC is greater than VL. Is it clear? So you are going to get this type of phasor diagram. So previously, what I considered, VL is greater than VC. So here V is upwards. So V leads the VR. Suppose if VL is less than VC, then you are going to get like this. So the down. So V is downwards. Here VL is less than VC. So both are opposite. VL and VC are opposite. Is it clear? Shall I proceed to next question? Okay, this is about RLC. So here one more problem is given. A series RLC circuit containing a resistance of 12 ohms, an inductance of 1.5 Henry, and a capacitor of 100 microfarad are connected in series across a 100 volts supply. So 100 volts, 50 hertz supply. Calculate the total circuit impedance, the circuit current, power factor, and draw the phasor diagram, and draw the voltage phasor diagram. So can you do this one? So next, derive the EMF equation of single phase transformer. So EMF equation of single phase transformer. So let us see this one. So single phase transformer. So this is the EMF equation. So phi equal to phi m sin omega t, E1 equal to minus N1 d phi by dt. So as per Lenz's law, the induced EMF is opposite to the cause. So this is the EMF equation of a transformer. So next, let us see the next question. So here a 25 kVA, 2000 by 200 volts transformer. The iron loss and copper loss. The iron and copper losses are 350 watts and 400 watts respectively. Calculate the efficiency on unity power factor at a full load and a half load. Full load and half full load. The problem is given to you here. See here. See this problem. So this is page number 21. So after maximum condition for maximum efficiency, so I gave a problem here. So transformer rating is given, iron loss is given, copper loss is given, efficiency at full load and half full load at 0.8 power factor lagging. So what about this one? At a unity power factor. So here full load is 0. If you know 0.8, you can do for full load unity power factor. Unity means 1. So instead of 0.8, you have 1 in the question. See here, unity power factor. Unity power factor means here you have to take here, instead of this you have to take 1. Here as per the question you have to take 1. Here in the problem it is given that instead of 0.8 it is given unity. So here you have to take 1. So what about the full load output? KVA into power factor. Okay. KVA into power factor is the output. So you know that output KVA into power factor gives the output. Output means here true power. So you are going to get the output. Next, you are going to find out the total losses. So add the losses, you are going to get the losses. So what about the input? Input equal to output plus losses. Efficiency is equal to output by input. Next, coming to half full load. So here half full load, what about the total losses? So coming to the output is equal to KVA by 2, total KVA. So here it is 50 KVA. So total KVA into half load means 1 by 2 into power factor. In the question it is in the question it is given unity. In order to make the calculation simple, so here instead of 0.8 you have to take 1. Okay, you are going to get the output. Next, total loss at half full load is equal to iron loss plus 1 by 2 square into copper loss. So what is copper loss? I square R. Half full load means I becomes I by 2. I by 2 square into R. So I square R, if you take I square R as full load copper loss, Cu loss, full load copper loss, then half full load copper loss means I by 2 square into R, which is equal to 1 by 2 square into full load copper losses. Right? So here half full load, this is how to calculate half full load copper losses. Is it clear? You have to do 1 by 2 square into full load copper losses. So you are going to get the total losses. Next, input equal to output plus losses. Efficiency is equal to output by input. So what is the output? 20. What is the input? 20.7. So output by input. So next, so explain in detail constructional details and the principle of operation of DC generator. So you can explain this.
Sir, efficiency అడిగారు కదా సార్ అక్కడ ఓన్లీ పవర్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ చేసినారు సార్.
Power factor?
Efficiency అన్నాడు కదా సార్. Efficiency
Yes.
on
Calculate the efficiency on unity power factor at full load, half full load. This is similar to this one. Here power factor is 0.8. We are going to calculate the efficiency at full load and half full load. Here this problem is 0.8 power factor. In your problem, in the question paper, it is given unity power factor. Just instead of same problem with a power factor equal to 1. Okay. So constructional details I have given. So here this is unit 4. So constructional details, you draw this diagram. So draw this diagram and explain the parts. Yoke, wheel poles. So diagrams are important. Don't need to draw this one. If you are able to draw, you can draw. But this diagram is important. Diagrams are very important. If you draw the diagrams without seeing the matter, they can give the marks. So when you can draw the diagram, if you understand the parts, then only you can draw this diagram. So field windings, interpoles. So up to this you can draw, you can write. So explain different parts. So here describe different types of cables used for domestic wiring. So already I told you this one, different types of cables. So based upon the conductor, you have aluminum and copper. Based upon the insulation, you have different types of cables. So remaining I will continue in the next class. Okay, you can let me take the attendance. If you have, if you want to revise any topics, you can mention. Number 74.